Welcome to this episode of the Total Podcast with me, your host, Phil Scott. On this episode of the Total Podcast, I am so honored to have a repeat guest. And she's not just any guest, she is the author of multiple books. Her name is Jannesy DeLeon. And Jannesy, thank you so very much for coming back on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. So, Janessy, you've written a brand new book, and my listeners are just waiting to hear about it. So, without further delay, let's hear about it. So, let's tell us about your brand new book that's coming out. And it's coming out pretty soon, too.
Yes, it's launching on Tuesday, this Tuesday, on December 2nd. And it's called Here Comes Sam,
All
a
right.
story of rescue puppy love with Gabby and Nicky. So it's the third book of the series. I can finally say it's a series. I've just been waiting. I knew with the second book it was the start, but now I feel like it's officially a series now. And the co-star of the book is introducing our pup Sam.
Now, if you would tell us or remind our listeners or introduce new listeners to the Gabby and Nicky series, how it started, what inspired you to write it, and how it goes into the new book. Here comes Sam.
Yes, I was inspired by my own children. I have two children with severe complex uh, issues, and they have multiple disabilities. They're non-speaking, and growing up, they were kind of ignored when we would go to, let's say, events or a party, and uh, people tended to ignore them, like say hi to me and not hi to them, and that always kind of hurt me. And I always wondered how they felt inside. And so the idea of started growing in my mind about, I think we need to start teaching children at a young age to learn how to or feel confident in approaching someone with disabilities or different abilities and just show empathy, show some kindness, don't leave anybody out. Um, and so after like 15 years of, in the grind, in the caregiving grind, I finally decided to go for it, write these books, and I kind of just want to start it with young children, so kind of expose them and normalize disabilities. And so the first book was called Tag You're It. You see it right there behind me, and it's about a little girl who has cerebral palsy and who's non-speaking and in a wheelchair, and she sees kids playing in a park, and she wants to play tag too. And of course, the kids are skeptical. And so the book is about, she shows them that, hey, I can play too. And in the end, I help kids learn how to modify games. And so that way everyone is included. And then the second one is called Not a Shot. And that is her brother, Nikki, is kind of the co-star, the co-star of that book, and he's scared of doctor visits and, of course, getting shots. And so Gabby has to find a way to help her younger brother overcome his fear, and she does. And then we have a Roddy, a black Roddy, and she really is the star of the family. Her name is Samantha. We call her Sam, and all our family members and friends always kept asking me, when are you going to introduce Sam into the series? When are you going to introduce Sam into the series? And I'm like, I guess I'll do it with the third book. And so it's a story about a little rescue puppy that Gabby and Nicky adopt. And so in the book, they kind of got to figure out, Gabby is immediately bonded to this pup, and she wants her to sleep with her on her bed. She has to figure out how to get her on her bed. And so it's really a story about teamwork and but that connection and that bond really that Gabby develops with the rescue pup. And although our pup technically didn't come from like a shelter or foster, uh, their father actually rescued her from like a neglected home. And so she is our rescue pup, and she's the center of the family. I mean, she just took to Gabby and Nicky right away, and she thinks it's Gabby and Nicholas as her own. So she's definitely, I mean, super excited. All my friends are excited. My family, anybody who knows my Sam is just thrilled that now she's the little star of the third book.
Well, that's a terrific premise for your book. Now, how long did it take you to write this one?
This one, I could say it's been over 2 years, I think, since I initially wrote the manuscript, and it kind of What I tend to do is I initially will write something and kind of just step away. And that normally my favorite time to write is during the winter after the holidays. Things kind of settle down. I love being in front of my window and seeing snow coming down. That's when I like to write. And then what happens is as the spring and summer comes along, guess what? Now I got to start doing things outside and you know how it is, vacations, whatever, mowing the lawns or, pool, all that kind of things, all those kinds of things keep me busy and I don't get the chance. So I kind of step away from it, but it helps me because when I kind of return to it, when I have some time or I'm missing that, I'll go back to it and I'll go, oh, wow, well, this kind of sucks. And I'll kind of just re-edit it and work on it. And so it takes some time and when something you think something is done. You think that manuscript is like, you know what? This is it. This can't get any better. This is perfect. You either set it aside again, come to it again, and you realize, wow, okay, what was I thinking? And you re-edit it again. And then comes the part when you then either hire an editor or you start sending it out to your author friends to edit and they come up with all sorts of things and you're like, I had no idea about this. I can't, it's like starting all over again. But in the end, after all those trials, all those tribulations, you get the final product and you realize, wow, it had to go through all that process. And you think because it's a children's book and it's only, depending, it's not a lot of words or between, you can edit and re-edit till the cows come home, like forever. And at some point, you have to let it go. And the person who actually, and your friend of mine, who helped me a lot with the editing process, I did hire an editor, but my pal and yours, Erin Murphy,
Yes.
she really helped me shape this story, and I will forever, forever be grateful to her because she kind of had to, because I had a hybrid publishing house helping me with the books. Um, it's almost like she had to kind of take me back to the beginning, the roots of everything that we learned because we both went through that whole journey, the Kitlit, I think, writing school, and kind of remind me, start with the storyboard, you know, do stick figures and figure out how do you, and it just changed the story. It literally, I said, you know what? I don't like the feel of this story just by drawing my little stick figures in the storyboard and all my text. It was just perfect. And I didn't know how to thank her because I felt that the story was so much better because of her suggestions. And I just thanked her by kind of like incorporating her in the book.
Oh, that's
She became a
awesome.
character in the book. So I was
Wow.
so excited to 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 surprise her with that because she was obviously the first person to see the final book, the final text.
Well, Erin
And
is
so
awesome. She's awesome.
yes. Oh, she's just a, that, you know, an extraordinary person who she just supports the authors like there's no one else.
And
And so,
I wonder how she finds time to do everything she does too, being a pilot and doing everything else. It's like, oh
yeah,
my
she
gosh.
volunteers
Hmm.
and and she's just always advocating for others. I mean, I think she's just, she has her two books of, her aviation animal rescue. And now she's just kind of dedicated to helping and uplifting other authors while still selling her books. But she's out there hustling and just proud to know her. And we do a lot of collabs together. And so she's become a really good friend. And I'm just excited for us to do a lot of things in the future.
Well, you already answered my question about the most challenging part of writing the book. What was the most fun aspect of writing it?
The most fun, obviously the whole process, it's really like the illustration when you start seeing the book come to life. You can envision it in your head as you're reading the text, but once that illustrator starts putting, pen to paper and starts uh putting to life your words, that's when you kind of get that, ooh, this feels good, that kind of that that excitement, that feeling in your stomach like this is really happening. Um And that's my favorite part. So as I would get the sketches, I would start then create it almost like a storyboard. I would make it into a book. And again, you can see what works and what doesn't work. You're still editing even to the end when you think you finalize your text. Let's say you get your final print, um, you still fixing and editing things, but it's those illustrations. They are the most fun, and because now you're seeing your words come to life.
Now, your book is coming out, and as of this recording, in a couple of days, correct?
Yes, it's launching on Tuesday, December 2nd.
And what do you think is the most exciting part that you're looking forward to of release day?
Seeing how many people download that ebook that I'm gonna have for free for 48 hours and just kind of see the reviews coming in, and seeing what people think. I mean, I have such a tight kidlit community that is so supportive. I mean, I love these people as their family because at this point we're family. I mean, we support each other like no other. And just seeing their excitement to see me finally get my third book out, uh, it just touches my heart. It really does because, you know, you don't know. I mean, you don't. You believe that I mean, you know people care about you, but when you have your work coming out and seeing how supportive they are and how quick they are to share and how quick they are to download and how quick they are to cheer you on, I mean, it's just so moving, and I just love them.
Now, will your book only be on Amazon, or will it be on other platforms as well, other
It'll be on
publishers?
all online bookstores, Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, of course.
Mhm.
Obviously on my website, you could purchase it on my website. Usually on my website, you get free goodies or, an autographed copy. So I always recommend that most, of course, and it supports, small businesses like me and entrepreneurs like me, because at least we're getting most of that profit coming to me and not giving it to like the big. But you know, I want to give everyone options, don't want to limit people, but usually it's more helpful to authors to purchase from their websites. And I also still have other, products I developed. I'm not sure if in our last conversation when we were talking about Not a Shot, if I had talked about my affirmation cards, my inclusion affirmation cards, my puzzles, and I have a couple of little canvas bags. So I have, a couple of like inclusion merch, that kind of just as a side to the books. And also like I have for especially for Tag Your It, I have like resource guide, a teacher like lesson plan that helps teachers make it easy to incorporate the lessons of Tag Your It into the classrooms.
Now, speaking of that, are you looking forward to, and do you plan on going to maybe schools, sharing your new book with kids at schools?
I'm always willing to do that. Once I get my physical books in for my overseas printer, um, I will be setting up. I will be actually having a an event at Sultane Cafe in Phoenixville. It's an organization that employs people of different disabilities, and so they align perfectly with my inclusion mission. And so we were just there last week, I think. We were being interviewed by our local 6 ABC Philly news station. So I went there with Gabby and Nicholas, and uh, they kind of highlighted and featured us. And so I'm waiting for that to come out soon. But we were there at Sultan, and so I plan to go back and have an event there and sell my books. And but it is a wonderful organization. You guys should check them out. They're in Phoenixville, and it's Sultan Cafe, and the coffee is delicious.
Awesome. Wow. Well, I like that you're getting out there and you're sharing your work with people out in the public, because it's one thing to just write the book and to be behind the scenes and to publish it, but getting it out there in the public with kids and adults and just that community in general makes a huge difference, I would think.
No, absolutely. And my being that this is a book about a rescue puppy, my goal is to either create my own events where we could raise money for local animal shelters, because that's huge. I'm planning to do a lot of things, especially with Erin, because obviously she's a foster mom and she adopted her both dogs are rescues, and we plan to collaborate, do a lot of things to help raise money. We did raise money about a year ago for a book, called Who Rescued Who, and we were featured in the book. Actually, Erin was on the cover, and I was featured with the kids and Sam in the book, and we raised thousands of dollars for the Philly Rescue Angels over there in Philadelphia. So super proud of that, and I hope to continue that with Here Comes Sam.
That's terrific. Now, one other thing I wanted to ask you too. Um, Cost of the book after the initial that awesome 40-day or 48
Yeah,
hour
48
40
hours,
days.
they can
40 days
download
will be
it.
too long.
Yeah,
48
48 hours,
hours.
yes. 48 hours is free on Kindle, so that when anyone has access to it. But it's 19.99 on Amazon and on my website. But again, same price. So hopefully you'll go to my website so you could get an autographed copy.
Now, also, I wanted to also ask you before you go, um, if you would, tell us the difference between publishing the first couple of books and then in the series and then publishing this one, because there's a difference in what you had to
There is.
do to publish them.
Yes, my first two books were published by BiblioKid Publishing, and they were a hybrid, a traditional publishing house. And they were fantastic. Fantastic. But there's a huge cost to hiring a hybrid. And the reason why I went with hybrid is because I wanted to have control. I wanted to control the narrative of my book. I didn't want to fall into stereotypes. I knew kind of what I wanted to go in. I just wanted to have a main character with multiple disabilities. Um, but I didn't want it to be about disabilities. I
Right.
just wanted to normalize disabilities through just normal adventures. It's just that the character happens to have, a couple of issues and that, but it's not about that. It's just typical stories and adventures with Gabby and Nicky. And if what they see throughout the book, because they will see, like Gabby's little kind of bed, a medical bed, and they'll see a Hoyer lift in here, a ramp. And so if it sparks conversations, fantastic. But I didn't want it to be about that. I don't want a traditional house to kind of hijack the narrative and make it something about inspiration. And, they're not there. They're here to just be who they are, and just kind of expose kids to disabilities. And so when I decided not to renew my contract with them, the reason why I wanted to is because, again, the costs are high. At
Right.
least now it'll cost me a little less. I can even have more control now at this point. I can decide when to run promotions and things like that. I couldn't do that before. And so I went the, started my own JDL publishing. And so that's what it's published under, but that's me. And, um, and so it's just a lot more work. Like I'm in it. A Biblio kid would handle the bulk of the issues or decisions, and then kind of would send it to me for approval or disapproval. Now here I was kind of all in, um, making every little decision, and it was a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie, a little stressful for someone with a lot on my plate, um, but very satisfying and just super proud that I was able to. Uh, Come up with such a good product. But again, I learned a lot from BiblioKid, so I'm very always will be grateful to them.
Now, if you had to give a little bit of advice to someone who was thinking about writing their own children's book, because you've been through so much and you've learned a lot throughout the years that you've been doing it, what bit of advice would you give a new author?
I would definitely tell them, and I'm sure that I've said this before, um, take a class, a children's book writing class. It's very specific. There is a, a way to write children's books. There is a method. So it's not as easy as you think. You have to be able to have a complete arc, you know, um, teach a lesson, the hero learn their lesson, come up with a solution, all within like 5 to 800 words. And it's not as easy as it looks. And so it's important to work on that. And once you get that, I just say do a lot of research, read a lot of children's books, especially in whatever kind of genre, which is children's book, but whatever type of book that you want to, a lot of minds are loosely inspired by other children. So I tend to read a lot and study a lot of books that were very similar to what I was intending to put out. And so those are the first two important things that very important things that you should do if you're even thinking about writing a children's book.
Well, that's awesome advice. Now, finally, what's ahead? What do you have any other books on the horizon
Oh,
that
yes.
people
My
might be
fourth
looking?
book. Yes, my fourth book, which is tentatively called, and I don't know if I should say it or not. Anyway, but it's written. I kind of might have started over a year ago as well. This past winter, I kind of um solidified it. I think it's pretty good. I kind of read it not too long ago. I said, wow, not sure there's a lot of editing, I think, but I have to do a lot of research because there's going to be a little bit more of bilingual twist.
Hmm?
I'm kind of introducing, Gabby and Nicky are of Hispanic, they're Latin, Puerto Rican, as I am and my children are. Uh, and so I think we're going to introduce some, Spanish speaking words. So I want to study a lot more books, see how other children's books that are bilingual, um, how do they present them, how do they write them, make sure that I'm on the right path. I think I am, but yeah, so hopefully next year, I mean, I don't want to say, but maybe tentatively at least by the summer to have it out. So now that I'm fully self-published, I know what to do. So I think this one will go much quicker and easier.
We're back with Jannesy DeLeon. One thing I wanted to add before we end our interview officially, what are the social media links for your book?
On Instagram and on Facebook, I'm at Jannesy DeLeon. And I'm on TikTok as well at Jannesy DeLeon. And then my website is www.janessydeleon.com.
Awesome. Wow. Well, everybody will be looking forward to that. That's amazing. Awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Janessy.
Thank you so much, Phil. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I love it when I have repeat guests, and you're just one of the most awesome guests ever. So, thank you so very much for coming on. And it's kind of short notice, too. So, thank you so very much. I really
Oh no, but
appreciate
I
it.
thank you for reaching out always. It's always a pleasure. It feels like family when I talk to you. It's so nice and fun and natural. And so I appreciate you always supporting me.
Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. And I thank you for being supportive of the podcast, too. Without
Thank-
awesome,
Of
amazing
course.
people like you, I wouldn't have a podcast. So, thank you so very
Oh,
much,
that's sweet. Thank
Janice.
you so much.
You're
Well, you're doing
welcome.
a great job. Thank you for supporting us.
You're welcome. Thank you. With that,
Take care.
everyone, oh, you too. Thank you, Janessy. With that, that is the end of this episode of the Total Podcast with me, your host, Phil Scott. Everyone stay safe, be careful out there, take care of one another, and we will talk again soon.